Hello Philippines and hello world. Welcome to the Daily Philip Talk.
I am gadget but not cheat, nor shit, tabarans.
I am Mara J. Pinky, but not Kakamping Kyunson, your host for today.
Hi Mara, I'm so glad to see you and this lovely audience.
Yeah, it's great to see you again today too, guys. And I am amazed that the number of viewers has increased by 2.
Yes, partner, perhaps they're all excited as I am and that we will get another opportunity to listen to and learn from our today's speaker's guest.
You're right, guys, because in today's episode we'll get a glimpse of history and learn about the literatures produced during U.S. colonialism, as well as hear from speakers who will introduce pioneer Filipino English writers during reorientation period.
Not only that, partner, but the audience also will given me a chance and opportunity to ask questions to our special guest.
Wow, that sounds good. It seems everyone is so excited. Partner, what are we waiting for? Let's call on our first 2 guest speakers.
Without further ado, let me introduce your first speaker. She is a graduate of Stanford, Oxford, Unitop with a degree of Bachelor of Arts in English Language and Literature. Let's give a round of applause to Miss Eugene Terce, hindi 14.
We also have our second guest speaker. She is a graduate of Harvard University with a degree in Bachelor of Arts in Literature and a summa cum laude of Literature Classics. Let's give a round of applause to Miss Joyce Arvida, hindi pa bida-bida. Welcome to the Philip Talk, Miss Eugene Terce, hindi 14, and Miss Joyce Arvida, hindi pa bida-bida. Thank you for being with us today, and it is our pleasure to meet you both.
The pleasure is ours.
Thank you so much for having us here.
To begin, can you tell us a little bit about the literature during U.S. colonialism? And both of you can say something about this, actually.
Philippine literature during American rule was influenced by 2 factors, first of which is education and second is culture. Unlike the Spanish, foreigners were eager and willing to teach their language to the Filipinos. During U.S. colonialism, free education served as a stepping stone to improve social status. They've used education in order for them to have a better social standing. And during this time, early English literary works displayed American-style writing. If we try to look at the history, it can also be noticed that the writers who have only recently begun learning English are unable to completely express their talent, their gifts due to the lack of mastery of the language.
You mean to say, Ma'am Eugene, there is a good news and drawbacks or weaknesses during that time, and one of which shows a lack of language mastery. Ah, I see. How about you, Ma'am Joy? Do you have anything to say or add to what Ma'am Eugene has stated?
Yes, I'd like to add to what Ma'am Eugene has stated about education. Philippine literature in English, as a direct result of American colonization of the country, could not escape being imitative of American models of writing, especially during its period of apprenticeship, where the use of English as a medium of instruction introduced Filipinos to Anglo-American models of thought, culture, and life ways that would be embedded not only in the literature produced but also in the psyche of the country's educated class. It was this educated class that would be the wellspring of a vibrant Philippine literature in English. And yeah, absolutely, I agree with Ma'am Eugene's assertion. She mentioned that significant changes in education and culture influenced the literary composition of the American colonization. When American rule was formally established in the country, free public education in the English language began.
Thank you for that, Ma'am Joy. That makes sense. Let me ask another question. This question is for Ma'am Eugene. You mentioned earlier that free education acted as a stepping stone. who most benefited from the free education and what were their gains during U.S. colonization?
Thank you for that insightful question. As I previously stated, a free public education has made knowledge and information more accessible to a wider range of Filipinos. Those who acquired or benefited this free education at the college level were able to increase their social standing and join a large group of educated people who became part of the country's middle class.
Guys, our special guest seems like they have a lot to share. Let us take this time to let one of our audiences ask questions to our honorable guest speakers. I saw someone raising her hand.
Yeah, you're right, Lara. I saw someone raising her hand. I think she wanted to ask a question. Let's go ahead and interview her. Hi there. Welcome to Daily Philly Talks. Kindly introduce yourself to us and please specify to whom you wanted to address that question. Okay?
Hello everyone, I actually have a long name too. But anyways, I will introduce myself. I am Regine Sumabat, hindi Sumasla. I am happy to be here. Actually, I am a student of Walang Tulugan University and I don't want to miss this opportunity to ask questions to one of our guest speakers. And I'd like to address this question to Ma'am Joyce Arbida, hindi pa bida-bida. And you said earlier that there are significant changes in education and culture that influence the literary composition of the American colonization. The question is, what are the compositions or most literary works and who are the significant literary authors during U.S. colonization? Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Miss Regine Sumabat, pero hindi sumasabat. Most literary works took the form of free verse, modern short stories, and critical essays, and some known literary writers of the time include national artists Jose Garcia Villa and Virgilio Almario. Developments in free production also stimulated the massive production of literary works in English, such as the Philippine Free Press and the Philippine Herald, that later on encouraged development of critical and seditious literary works and school publications such as the College Folio.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Regine, for that question. And thank you for that short but precise response, Ma'am Joyce Arbida. Hindi pa bida-bida. I think it's time for us to wrap up the first set of the Daily Philly Talk. Back to you, Mara.
Yes, guys, it's time to wrap up the show. But before that, allow us to thank our special guest for accepting our invitation. And with that, the Daily Philly Talk wanted to give a simple token of appreciation to our special guest for today. Again, thank you so much, Ma'am Joy and Ma'am Eugene. To conclude the first set talk show for today's episode, we have learned a lot from Ma'am Joy Arbida, hindi pa bida-bida, and Miss Eugene, hindi 14. We've learned that the literary composition in the American colonization was greatly influenced by significant two factors. That is the development in education and culture. When American rule was formally established in the country, the introduction of free public instruction with the use of English language was initiated. The Daily Philly Talk will be back with another set of guest speakers after the advertisement.
I got my tibay. Just na lang ngayon ang Bear Friends Rock.
Just na lang from Nestle.
Hello, Philippines, and hello, world. Welcome back again to the Daily Philly Talk.
Guys, the first set of speakers were very intelligent and they shared a lot of information regarding the literatures under the U.S. colonization. That includes the Philippine Free Press, the significant changes in education and culture, and even the influence of literary composition of the American colonization.
You said it correctly, Mara. For the second part of today's episode, we will take a look and discover who are the pioneer Filipino English writers during the period of free orientation, and we will have a glimpse of some of their compositions.
Without further ado, let us all welcome our guest speaker. She is from Dikawalan University with a degree in Bachelor of Arts in English Language and Literature. She graduated with a Flying Rainbows Award. Let us give a round of applause to Miss Sofia Sasing Masim.
guest speaker from Kapalit University. She graduated with a degree in Bachelor of Arts in Literature and a Magna Cum Laude of Literature. Please welcome Ma'am Tricia Soto D. Ototo. A round of applause, please.
Welcome to the Daily Field Talk, Ma'am Sofia Sasing Maasim and Ma'am Tricia Soto Diototo. Thank you for being with us today. It is a great honor to meet you both. By the way, each of you can contribute to this query and to commence our discourse. Kindly tell us a little about the background of the period of reorientation so that we will have some underlying foundation.
Thank you also for inviting us. Yeah, period of reorientation started in 1898 and ended in 1910. The period of reorientation covered the early years of American period as the landing of the American to the Philippines tours, including the Philippine-American War. Even during the war, the Americans established a public school system in areas that have been pacified, and it is the period when English as a literary vehicle came with the American occupation on August 13, 1898, and as they say, a choice bestowed on us by history. And by 1900s, American came to be used as a medium instruction in the public schools. From the American forces were recruited the first teachers of English.
That sounds interesting. Thank you for that, Ma'am Tricia, for sharing that information.
Writers in this period were still adjusting to the newfound freedom after paralyzing effect of repression of thought and speech under the Spanish regime. They were adjusting to the idea of democracy to the new Fariseo of English literary styles. Writers had to learn a direct expression as conditioned by direct thinking. They had to learn sentence constructions, sounds, and speech in English were not the same as in the vernacular. They had to discover sentimentally and floridly of language for more direct and precise English language.
Thank you for that, Ma'am Sophia. Back to you, Mara.
Wow, it's fascinating to imagine that there are really adjustments during this time period. Okay, moving on to the poetry. Ma'am Tricia and Ma'am Sophia, either of you can answer this question. Who were the authors and what was the first Filipino literary work published in English during the occupation of the Americans?
Yeah, some of the well-known authors during this time period are Justo Juliano, Jan of Salazar, and Proceso Sebastian. And the very first Filipino literary work written in the English during the American occupation is Justo Juliano's Sorsum Corda and published in English in 1907.
Thank you for that very short but insightful response, Ma'am Tricia Soto Diototo. I think it is the time again to let our listeners or audience ask a question to our guest speakers.
Hello everyone, my name is Regina Reds Whitewood. I'm from Pasmo University, and I'd like to address this question to either Ma'am Sophia Sasing Maasim or Ma'am Tricia Soto de Ototo. Well, I'm just intrigued when I discovered that the very first Filipino literary work written in English during the American occupation is Justo Juliano, Sorsum Corda. What is the meaning of Sorsum Corda? And can you give us a short description of what this literary work is all about?
The Sorsum Corda in Latin means lift up your heart, or literally means upward hearts, is the opening dialogue of the preface of the Eucharistic prayer or anaphora in the literature of Christian Church, dating back at least in the 3rd century and the anaphora of the apostolic tradition. The dialogue is recorded in the earliest liturgies of the Catholic Church in the West and East and is found in all ancient times.
Thank you for that, Ma'am Sophia. And to wrap up the talk about for today's episode, we've learned that period of reorientation started in 1898 and ended in 1910. This is actually the period when English as a literary vehicle came with American occupation on August 13, 1898. Once again, I am Gas
And Mara, your host for today.
Good day,
everyone.